All right, I brought my diesel Articat back from my ranch to do the annual service on it, and while I got it back, I am going to turn up the fuel injection rate. I'm going to do my best to document how to do it. I've took some of the racks off, but not yet. What my plan is to take all the front plastics off, because about this area right here, there's a big nut and a screw that you adjust that will increase or decrease the amount of fuel that gets put to the injectors and the cylinders. A whole bunch of people online have said turning that up gives you much better performance, a little more power. You get a little rolling a little bit of coal and stuff like that out of it. It's turned down to be within emissions compliance in California. But the issue is mine is a later model. So in order for it to be compliant with the emissions, they also use a ton of thread locker. And you'll see as it go on, once I take all the panels off, I'll show you what I did. I originally tried to do it by just drilling a hole in the green plastic underneath here that exposes it so you could see it, and then accessing it from under here. And that thread locker is way too tight, and I can't apply heat to it without worrying about melting the plastic. So I'm going to take this front plastic off, get everything exposed, and it should also make it easier to do my service that I'm going to be doing. So what I'm using to do this, some PB blaster you're going to need, possibly a torch. I didn't end up needing it. Flathead screwdriver, if you have one available, a little like body clip removal tool, 3/4 wrench. I ended up using these. You might not in your situation, but vice grips, some small vice grips, 5mm Allen key. You may or may not need this as well. Regular pliers, regular channel locks, 13mm, 14mm, 10mm ratchet, another smaller flathead screwdriver, a large Phillips, T27 Torx, 14mm wrench, and a 10mm wrench. Alright, I got all the front plastics off anyway, and I put the handlebars in place just to be able to start it. But this is the fuel screw, and the way it works is this big lock nut, loosen it, and then you drive the screw in. Wasn't able to get at it. You can see how I marred it up a little bit trying to mess with it with the plastics on. But I'm going to put a little bit of heat on it now and see what I can do. Alright, so I made my adjustment. The big lock nut here is 3/4. You want to break that loose and then use a flathead screwdriver to turn this in up to 2 turns. Now, mine's all boogered. I went to go turn it with the screwdriver and half of it fucking broke off. I didn't end up even really putting any heat on it. I let the engine run a little bit and put some PB blaster on there, and it helped seep in, and then it was able to move. So I ended up just taking some vice grips and gripping what I could, and I turned the screw in about 1.5 turns. I'm going to try to do it a little bit more, and then I'm going to show you a video of the difference of what's coming out in the exhaust. What I read some people did is they removed this cover. That's what you can get at with the 5mm Allen wrench. Go a little bit farther and take this off. I didn't find the need to do that, but if you wanted more space to use a socket instead of a wrench on here, that's what you'll do. I got it all put back together, and I've used it for some work around the yard, finished all my other service and stuff on it, and increasing that fuel does make quite a difference with this. You know, it's still not going to compare to some high-powered gas one and get up and go 60 miles an hour, but I did see my top speed increase by a little bit, and it definitely gets up to say like 20, 30 miles an hour much faster. One thing you need to watch out for once you do this is your exhaust gas temperatures. There's obviously no way from the factory to monitor them. So what I did is I added a pyrometer, you know, to measure exhaust gas temperatures. I didn't really document how I installed this because there's all kinds of different ways, but you can see I put the little probe right there after the header coming off the engine to give me an idea, to make sure I'm not getting too hot. I don't really go out and abuse this thing and take it for crazy runs anyway, but I do have some real big hills out at the ranch that's what will really increase the exhaust gas temperatures. But I did about a quarter mile of wide open throttle out on my county road with a decent incline of say like 15%, and the hottest I got was about 1100, and 1200 is where you want to really watch it. It is able to spin the back tires now. You do a good burnout with it. It wasn't able to do that before, especially with the bigger, knobbier tires that I put on. I probably will eventually gut the muffler out to give it a little more power. Since you're putting more fuel in, it's going to have more exhaust. Absolutely worthwhile to do it. Taking the plastics off made it much easier. You know, you could also get in there and do the rest of your service a lot easier if you need to get at things. But I'm really happy I finally did it.